Ladies and gentlemen, hello! Short, snappy review today. I got Far Cry a few days ago and I just finished it a few hours ago. It takes me a few weeks to put together my big reviews and we don't have that kind of time because the game comes out tomorrow and I want to let you know right now whether or not it's worth buying, so that's what we're gonna do. Ubisoft have for a while now been struggling to revitalize their open world format. They looked at Assassin's Creed and they knew that people were a little bit over what that was, and so they revitalized it with Assassin's Creed Origin. They took a year off development to be able to deliver that. Everyone seemed to love Assassin's Creed Origins. I personally did not like Assassin's Creed Origins. I found it very badly written. I found it very repetitive. I found the forced side quests like unforgivably frustrating. I found the open world really beautiful, but also at the same time, you couldn't interact with it. It didn't feel real. It just sort of felt like you were looking at a very pretty picture the whole time. So understand that a lot of people totally love that game. It was like game of the year for so many. For me, I didn't personally enjoy it. Before that, there was Ghost Recon Wildlands. Now, Ghost Recon Wildlands should not have been an open world game. The original Ghost Recon format was, you know, a tactical mission-based shooter, and it was the best at what it did. They changed that, and I think it was a real shame because that open world game was the perfect summary of everything wrong with Ubisoft's open world format. Big, gigantic map, none of it meant anything, repetitive tasks, terrible writing, just none of it grabbed me at all, and I think a lot of people felt the same time. It wasn't like terrible, but it was very meh. As a result of both of those examples, I was very skeptical about Far Cry 5 and what they could really do with it, but I'm very happy to say that like they really have absolutely nailed it. I finished the game in about 30 hours, and that was with a little bit of side stuff here and there, but you know, there's still some more game for me to play. I reckon it's probably like a 40 to 50 hour game in terms of completionists, but that whole time that I played, never once was I bored. And I mean like, never once was I bored. And that is a really big deal for an open world game because, you know, you expect some boredom to come through, but it just doesn't happen with Far Cry because there's so many things that are working well all at once. So let's start talking about what those things are. Number one, the world is brilliant. It's set in Montana. It's not beautiful per se. It's not like Assassin's Creed Origins where I was very much just sort of walking around in a daze being like, holy shit, this is the prettiest game I've ever seen. It's not like that. It's just, it feels nice to be in that world. You know, you go from woodlands to rocky cliffs to wetlands to, you know, prairies. Is that a word? Prairies is a word. Prairies is a word. You just have all these spaces that are really nice. And then there's, you know, the buildings of Montana on top of it. You've got really nice churches. You've got lumber mills. You've got school camps. You've got, you know, plantations. You've got all this stuff. And it's drawn right from the real world. And it's used in a really interesting way because they become the outposts. They become the base of operations. They become the places you need to liberate, you know? And it's just, it feels so organic, but it's also interesting. You know, like it really does choose interesting locations to work with. The first base of operations is a town, which is really great, and the second one is actually in a prison, sort of a bit Walking Dead-esque. The third is an underground bunker. You know, you've got just these great spaces that are just so ripped from reality and so perfectly realized. I really enjoyed just looking around the map. I thought it was super well done. There's a lot of personality in this game as well, and that's one of the things that really kept me engaged. All the NPCs that you meet, they all have these funny personalities, just random people on the street who sort of like give you missions.
They said, sign up right here, friend. Then they start listing off all their dang rules, man. No fornicating. Turns out that means fucking.
You also have 9 companions that follow you around. You can sort of assign them to you and you can give them orders. Now, this is just one of the best parts of the entire game. You know, you basically have these people behind you all the time, just providing a little bit of chatter back and forward. Think something like Dragon Age Inquisition, where the party members were sort of smack talking each other, kind of like that, but really funny and really great. They all have unique interactions.
Hey, Grace, I'm wondering, you know, just when it comes to gentlemen folk, like, do you have a type? Not for me or anything. My cousin Herc wants to know.
Yeah, the strong, silent type.
But you can also give them, yeah, as I said, specific orders, position them on high ground if they're a sniper, send them in for a stealth kill if they're a cougar or whatever. It's great because it adds a narrative depth to the game while simultaneously also offering strategic depth. So it's a really great system. The politics of this game are really interesting.
If them Obama-loving libtards find out I can't look after my own property, I can kiss this Senate run goodbye.
Now, this is absolutely a left-wing game, and there are some things in here which I think I might actually talk about later on in a later video, but it's definitely having a swing at Trump.
Look around you. This world is on the brink. You can feel it in your bones. Look at the headlines. Look who's in charge.
It's definitely having a swing at Trump's America. It mentions things like the wall.
Finally, I'll push for more strict immigration laws and build a 700-foot tall ice wall on our border, which I'll slowly move 1 inch north every year until Canada is American again.
If you are easily offended by jokes at the expense of conservatives, then you will not enjoy this game. But it is tongue-in-cheek, obviously. It doesn't really make fun of like left-wing views in the same way, so do be aware of that. You'll see for yourself when you play it. It is a politically charged game, especially in some of its biggest moments.
Communities being torn apart, walls being erected because leaders are too impotent to act.
The core of the narrative, though, and the thing that it is, in my view, the absolute best part of it is Joseph Seed, the father, the villain of the game, and his 3 lieutenants. His brother, John, is sort of like the Baptist, and he's crazy, and there's these incredible scenes where he's like torturing people and talking about how much he loves them at the time, and using that sort of like shield of religion while he's doing these awful things, you know. There's Faith, who is this sort of angelic presence, who is manufacturing bliss, which is a drug that is sort of enslaving the population. And then there's Jacob, who's the militant, who is sort of like training the army, getting ready for the Armageddon. You know, it's sort of like these 3 horsemen of the apocalypse. I know there's 4, by the way, but that's his 3 horsemen of the apocalypse. They're all contributing in their own way to the end times that Joseph is predicting. And they're so well written, and the path towards those characters is so fascinating. You encounter them throughout your journey in different ways, because the way it works is that, you know, you've got these 3 regions. The map of Montana is divided up. Each boss controls 1 region. You complete missions in those regions to get resistance points. Get enough points, you can confront the boss. But as you're doing that, you'll also have direct interactions with those bosses, so you get to know them before the final showdown, and they're always done in just these fantastic ways. You know, they're the real highlights for me. I'm going around and I'm exploring open world stuff. I'm doing really cool missions, but really what I'm excited for is the next time I get face to face with one of these villains. And that is obviously core to Far Cry's DNA. You know, Far Cry 3, that was why people loved it so much, and this game sort of quadruples down on that, because instead of having 1 great villain, you've literally got like 4 fantastic villains, and they're great. They're truly excellent. So when I'm not pursuing main missions, I'm doing side missions, and then I'm doing the whole like open world bullshit stuff, which we'll come back to. So side missions, they're really good. They're really well written. They're interesting. They're very diverse. Like one time I'll have to climb a tower or to blow something up, or I could just fly a helicopter up there and shoot it down. Other missions, I have to literally defend waves of zombies coming at me with this guy who's got a flamethrower at his yard while he's got Burn Baby Burn going.
You want to help? It's good fun, man. I promise not to tell anyone. We don't even have to wear pants or nothing.
Whoa, they are angry today. Starting to think they don't like disco.
Other ones, it's like racing through specific, you know, time tracks, like a stunt driver, Clutch Nixon from back in the 70s. It's all this, just a lot of really diverse stuff. I really struggle to think back on side missions and remember instances where they repeated stuff. It's just always so different, and as I said, the narrative that's wrapping around all of that is really worthwhile. The characters that provide those side missions are great. All of that really works. And then obviously beyond that, there's the open world stuff, which is open world bullshit, I call it. It's not that bad here. There are outposts to clear. There are some things to blow up. There are things running around the map on roads, like, you know, trucks of drugs or whatever you have to blow up. But I will say that you don't ever have to grind any of that stuff to progress the game. It's totally optional. You can actually just progress through the game by just doing the main quests alone. It will get you right the way through there. If you never want to clear an outpost, you kind of have to clear like 1 or 2 as part of the main quest, but you definitely don't need to clear like all of the outposts for a region before you need to go out. And even when you are clearing out outposts, they're really well designed. Like the areas that they create for you to clear out are great. And the fact that you can bring different companions who have different skills and different personalities, and you can clear those out in different ways is just great. It feels like a really good role-playing experience when I'm doing a lot of this open world stuff, because I can choose if I want to be loud or stealthy, which companions to bring with me, just the methods of attack, whether I want to drop in from a helicopter or I want to sneak in through tall grass, whatever, you know, like it's I really enjoyed that component, and certainly for 30 to 40 hours, as I said, never got bored doing any of that stuff, and I chose to pursue that open world stuff, which is something I typically avoid like the plague in pretty much every other open world game that I play. Gunplay is, I think, great. There's a number of weapons to choose from, like your classic assault rifles and shotguns. Bow and arrow is my personal favorite, sniper rifles, LMGs and the like. Don't expect the best gunplay you've ever sort of experienced. I played it on PS4 Pro, and using the controller and the like. I haven't played it on PC. You'll have to check other reviews for the PC port review. I can report that it runs beautifully on PS4 Pro, and I mean like beautifully. I never had a single issue. I only had one bug.
Go metal shot.
And as you can see, that's a pretty cool bug to have. But seriously though, hammering home this point, like 0 other bugs, like 0 the whole time I played a Far Cry game. That's crazy. Now, I'm not saying there's no bugs. Obviously, other people are going to encounter bugs for sure. I personally did not encounter any bugs but that one, and I think that's a really big deal. And I certainly congratulate Ubisoft for the quality they brought here, because that's definitely been a challenge with a lot of their games in the past. Okay, so there's one problem I had with this game, and that's monetization, microtransactions. It's complex, so I'm going to break it down for you in a fair amount of detail now, so forgive me for taking this a bit slowly. In the game, you will earn dollars, right, from doing pretty much anything. You'll earn a fair amount of money from main missions, a little bit of money from side missions, and basically nothing from killing an enemy. A gun, like a good gun, is probably like 7,000 bucks. There are some cheaper ones, obviously, but the cool ones, the ones that you really want, they're about $7,000. And for example, when I kill an enemy, he'll probably drop like $7. We'll come back to that point, by the way. You get this money. You spend it on buying weapons and attachments, but you also spend it on ammunition. So when you go back to town, instead of just getting an ammo refill for free, you need to buy ammo, which means that the game is constantly taxing your free dollars, okay? Yeah, that's part one. Part two is that you can buy premium currency, which you can then use to buy your weapons and your attachments and that sort of stuff. So you can buy premium currency for real dollars and use that to unlock stuff, or you can use your cash that you earn in game to unlock that stuff, but you're also using that to buy ammunition. What this creates is a situation where you don't want to spend your dollars on ammunition because you feel like you're wasting it. You want to keep it saved so you can buy things. And that kind of feels shitty because every time you go back to shop, you're kind of like, should I buy ammo? Shouldn't I? Whatever. It's just a bad feeling, okay? Furthermore, when you kill enemies and you walk over them, they will give you ammunition automatically, but they won't give you any dollars. You actually need to loot their corpse to get money from them. And it's kind of annoying to do that because you kind of have to position your cursor over the top of them, and very often they have a gun on top of them, which means that you're kind of like trying to avoid accidentally picking up a gun, and you're like, oh, this is annoying. You eventually just stop looting corpses because you can't be fucked, right? So that source of money dries up because you can't be bothered. Generally speaking, there just isn't a lot of money flowing to you while you're playing, and you do have to spend some of that on ammunition. What this meant for me was that in my entire playthrough of 30 hours, I was able to unlock 1 shotgun, 2 helicopters, a sniper rifle, and some attachments. And that's it, like that's all. And there's so many other things that I could buy. More guns and boats and cars and helicopters and just so much stuff that I couldn't buy because I didn't have enough money to do so. Now, did this hurt my enjoyment? A little bit, because I would like to be able to try out more guns and more stuff, but I can't because I don't have enough money and I refuse to pay for it, right? More than anything else though, I just had this cloud hanging over my head where it just felt like the game was too stingy with its real world dollars because it was trying to encourage me to purchase other stuff. If you doubled or tripled the amount of dollars that I got in game, I still would not have enough to buy most of the things that I wanted, okay? This really hurts completionists more than anything else. You know, if you're someone that wants to collect everything, this will frustrate you because the only real way to make money after the quests are done is to go out and hunt animals. You get like $200 for hunting a bear, for example, which probably takes you 10 minutes worth of effort. And then, you know, you need like $7,000 to unlock a weapon that you want or a helicopter that you want or something, right? So it's a real grind at that point. Overall, I think it is, as I said, a cloud that hangs over the top of this game that is disappointing. Many people in the comments below will say, hey man, I had a great time playing this game. It didn't bother me at all. Skill Up is just overreacting. He's oversensitive to this stuff, whatever. And that's actually true. I don't really feel like my enjoyment of this excellent game was massively undermined as a result of this. But I do feel as though every time I walked over a corpse and I got the ammunition but not the cash, I thought about, hey, why is that? Every time I went back to base and I didn't get my ammo for free and I needed to spend my dollars to do that, which meant that I was, you know, one step further away from getting the next weapon or helicopter I wanted, I felt that, you know. It was a niggling frustration in my mind that I do not think was necessary because this is a $60 game with a season pass and it just didn't need it. So you will make up your own mind about how much all of this matters to you. Do I think it's worth not buying this game? If you are serious about the principle of microtransactions and standing against those, maybe. Will this stop you from enjoying the game? Absolutely not. Because as I said, I still had an absolutely phenomenal time and there's more to come because they've got this arcade mode, which is basically a level editor, insane, crazy level editor where people can just create all sorts of stuff from numerous Ubisoft games, by the way. They've got numerous Ubisoft assets in this builder. The stuff that's going to come out of there, I'm sure is going to be fantastic. There's a co-op mode, which I never played, by the way, because I was doing a review of it. You can play co-op through pretty much this entire game, and that's also fantastic. And there's going to be all sorts of other shit as well in the future. So there's a long, distant horizon for this game where more content continues to be delivered. What I enjoyed, I loved. What will come in the future, I'm sure I'll also enjoy, but I do feel as though the microtransaction angle was something that disappointed me and was a blotch on it. You know, I don't score games, but I would certainly take this game down a point as a result of that, which I think is sad because the team have done such fantastic work. It's just a great game. Anyway, that is my review. As a day one purchase, I think it's a very safe purchase. You know, your view of microtransactions aside. I'm happy to answer any questions in the comments below if you have them. But yeah, absolutely, hats off to Ubisoft. You guys have done a fantastic job here. Well done with Far Cry 5. And I really look forward to seeing the other stuff that comes within Far Cry 5 in the future because all of that looks really cool too. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and subscribe. And you can become a patron. You can become a patron if you like to support me. And also there's a sponsor button next to the subscribe button, which is going to be like there. And that also helps me out in a very big way. Thank you very much, guys. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.